I want to say. Yeah, so that was cool. Neha was awesome. Staying with her was really cool. Her roommates like Kismet and man, I know the other Riot employees by their real names, not their handles now. That's bad. I gotta try and think of their handles. But no, they were all great people. I had a really fun time staying with them, and I actually should send them another thank you or something, because it was awesome that they let me stay at their place while I was down in LA. And yeah, so I think I interviewed well. Don't know whether I got the job. And now that all that's out of the way, and I haven't played for like a week because of Rush being in LA, and what was the other main thing? Oh yeah, catching up on schoolwork from all that. I guess I get a solo top. Oh, that'll be crazy. But so yeah, now I'm just playing a couple normal games to kind of get back into playing LoL, because I don't want to jump right back into ranked after not having played for like a week or so. It wouldn't be fair to my teammates. Like, I wouldn't mind losing the games because I'm rusty or whatever, but at the same time, it wouldn't really be fair to my teammates for me to queue up and be a high-rated player and then not play like a high-rated player. So I would almost always recommend, if you take an extended break from a game, which for me, an extended break from like a game where you're playing super competitively, probably anything more than 3 or 4 days could be called an extended break. Just because normally you're playing multiple games a day. So the difference between playing multiple games a day and not playing for 4 days is pretty huge. In this case, I haven't really played for like 7 days, which is like a giant amount. I'm sure I'll still be fine, but it'll obviously be good just to get a little bit of rust off in a couple of normal games before I jump right back into ranked. I also can test out like the new champions like Renekton and so on that I haven't really played. But yeah, I think all that's out of the way now, so I can actually get to maybe some commentary, if I can still even do that. He vs. Corki. I have no idea how solo Renekton works. All I've heard is his Q skill's pretty good for healing back up. So I'm gonna try that. And I don't feel like you should be solo with Renekton. I feel like he's probably more of a duo lane or jungle type champion, but I've never tried to jungle him. I'm not gonna make my first try in a game with other players. Yeah. I don't even know what my other skills do. Yeah, that one stuns, and this one dashes. I'll get the dash, because Corki's been zoning me. But yeah, I mean, this is the problem of a champion like Renekton against Corki. Any melee champion who doesn't have like really good regeneration abilities really has a lot of trouble soloing against a standard ranged DPS champion. He'll just hit me every time I try and last hit a creep. And I'm not strong enough to really chase him down at level 1 or level 2. The creeps are too powerful. Like, there are some like melee champions that, if you're getting harassed by the Corki, say, you just go up and fight back. But the big problem is the way the creeps are designed. In order for me to fight back against him, I am standing next to his creeps, and he's not standing next to my creeps. So he has that huge creep advantage. And so you just have to be a very powerful melee champion in order to do that. Like, there are some who can, like Malphite could. He has that defense. Singed can at slightly higher levels. He has lots of regen. Mundo can. He has lots of regen. But if you don't have that kind of regeneration or anything, you can't afford to be tanking all these creeps. Which means that you just get hit by the champion while you stand in the back. And then you get pretty badly outlaned. Not much that can even really be done. Although my next skill will use my Fury, I think? Maybe? So I should try and hit the Corki with it, maybe? Like that. That worked out okay. E refreshes, yeah, I saw that E refreshed. Yeah, I can do that eventually. I didn't feel like I was strong enough, really. I don't know. I don't know how strong I am compared to him. I don't want to, like, dash into him and then just, like, lose. So, because that would be dumb. if you don't know much about your champion, play defensive. You can't really go wrong with playing defensive. It's not like an optimal style of play. It's like I'll get mad at my teammate bottom lane if they're playing defensive when I know we could play aggressive. But if they don't know what they're doing, they're better off playing defensive than playing aggressive just because... Oh, hey, I might kill him. Forced flash. Oh, no, that's fine. It's not too bad. I forced his ghost and flash for just my ghost. I don't know if I could have killed him if I exhausted or not, but I figure I might as well save it. And so yeah, as melee champions normally get to higher levels, you can just fight back when they harass you like that. Like the Corki was going up to hit me because I was next to the creeps. I don't think this guy can actually beat me, can he? Not if I exhaust him, right? Yeah. Okay. But I'm not sure. Maybe he could have killed me. I have no clue. If he could have, I probably could have just stunned him and ran, or exhausted him and ran. But I was pretty sure that I could just win. Yeah. But I don't think I can win anymore. He has a lot of life back, and Corki was on his way back too. The two big things about that second time that he went on me is that even if I could have beat him, Corki was on his way back. And I was also pretty sure I couldn't beat him. I'm gonna try cooldown boots. And, like, a crap ton of health pots. Let's see how that works. But that's the cool thing about normal games. In my opinion, you can just kind of try things out in normal games. We don't really have a good team comp. They don't really have a good team comp. You're not gonna expect to see anything super competitive in a normal game. So you can just give things a try and see, like, I've never played this guy, so I don't have anything to compare this against. I've played him like once and decided he was underpowered and then decided not to play him. And that was also in a normal game. And I also still don't think normal games are that good for judging how useful a champion is, because other players could be doing the same thing. They could be testing things out and so on. So in a ranked game, when everyone's trying their best, that's really the best way to test a champion, but you don't want to first test them in a ranked game. Make sure they can at least make it through the normal game and do well in a normal game. Like, if it can't do well in a normal game, it probably can't do well in a ranked game. But if it does do well in a normal game, it doesn't mean that it will do well in a ranked game. But yeah, so I like dash in, I spin him, and then I dash back out. Oh, that sounds interesting. Although it, like, used Fury on something, I think. I don't know. I'm not worrying about Fury management at all right now. That's kind of like a high-level finesse. Like, once you understand the character and, like, get used to really playing him well, then the high-level thing would be to manage the Fury correctly. And yeah, like, that just wasted my Fury because I just dashed away using it. I guess if I ult, I get life back by a little bit. Yeah, I heal. No, I gain 300 life. Okay. So I could maybe use that to my advantage. So ideally, I'm gonna try and get next to Corki to hit him with my Fury, Call of the Meek. He has no mana, so there's not that much he can do here. Yeah, like that. My roommate just came in my room and tripped over stuff on my floor. It's kind of funny. No problem. But, no, he left a cup in here because we were hanging out, and I actually started playing WoW a little bit, which, as much as I've been against WoW, two of my roommates play it. They got me to invite a friend or whatever, so I'm actually going to make a character in that, apparently. But yeah, so I have a ward. I'm watching the ward for ganks. Something that you should always be doing is, when you place down that ward, actually watch for ganks. Care about how much mana your opponent has. The fact that Corki has low mana means I can be much more aggressive than if he was at high mana. And yeah, the reason why I bought all those health potions was just because I knew I was going to get harassed a lot by Corki, and I wanted to be able to CS. Like, I'm already way behind in CS. I'm like 42 to his like 60 or something. But a lot of it's just because he's been able to harass me so well in the early game that I've had to stand back. I don't feel like I'm missing that many creeps. I don't know whether I want to level up. Let's see. This cooldown goes down. That cooldown goes down. I'm gonna level Slice and Dice maybe, because I can hit him twice with it. I don't even know. But I'm gonna try that. He has a lot of mana regen. This is probably why mana regen runes are as good as they are, because he has no mana regen items. So I'm sure the fact that he's been regenerating all this mana this whole time, he's like spamming all of his spells constantly. It's gotta be mana regen runes. Which, I mean, I run them on almost any champion with mana, but... yeah, I mean, I feel like you can probably get a lot of CS with this guy. I just don't know how you would win your lane. Because you can slice and dice the creeps. You have to be using your Q on creeps. It's kind of like Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser has to nuke the creeps to win the lane, so he can build up a shield. I feel like Renekton has to nuke the creeps with his Q, so he can regen his life. Because being that melee champion, regen is just extremely important. I made him Ghost and Flash again. Oof. I can probably bait him into here with my ult, and then stun him. And then because his Ghost and Flash are down, okay, well that was pretty easy. That was a mistake on his part, because he didn't realize that, like, ults that say they give you 300 life actually give you 300 life. Like, it's not like it just gives you 300 max life. This ult that gives me 300 health will heal me by 300. It's like more effective than using a red pot. So he thought I was low when really my ult was up and I could just, yeah. That's pretty easy. Ooh, Ghost Blade sounds kinda good. I'm gonna try that. Sounds interesting. I mean, I have a stun, I have a dash. Yeah, I mean, I might want to build him more tanky. I don't know. No clue. I will have a better goal of what I want to do with the next game I play this guy after I've played him once, just building him with kind of whatever item I feel. But I mean, it's kind of good as a lesson on kind of how to learn a champion. A lot of people say you should kind of plan out exactly how you want to play the champion before you start playing the champion. And I normally find my quickest way to learn how to play a champion is just to jump in and do something with the champion, and then think about where I was strong and where I was weak, and what I could change. Like, one like insight that I've had is that if I build this Ghost Blade and I go cooldown boots, I'm probably gonna feel like I die really quickly. Like, if I jump into a team fight, I'm probably just gonna die because I don't have any tank items. But I did go full tank spec masteries at the start of the game, so perhaps that'll help me survive, I don't know. If I can dash again, I can probably kill him. There we go. And yeah, mid's still mid. I might be getting ganked by Corki, but aside from that, the jungler's not there. I don't know where Corki is, but I'm just gonna run away. It was a little bit of a risky dive. Definitely in a ranked game, someone probably would have reacted to me diving from here to here. That's like, the fact that I could kill him there, like that we saw, doesn't mean it's a good play. Because I didn't have map sight. If I had a ward like here and a ward like here to see where they were and like protect myself and know when I had to turn around, it would be a good play. But the fact that I had no map sight, I could have completely, like, if anyone came to help him, I was dead and he was alive. So that was basically me doing that dive, assuming that I saw like one or two there, I saw like one or two down here. And I assumed that it wasn't very likely someone was coming to help him, but there was no way that I like knew for sure. There was at least one champion missing, and that's all it takes. So I mean, that wasn't like a great play or anything. That was just like me being like, well, I can dive him and kill him. It's a normal game. I'm gonna go try and dive him and kill him. And that's why you don't see that type of play as much in a ranked game. It's not because you can't do it in a ranked game, it's just because someone will come and help him. At high-level ranked games, like, they're not gonna just let you dive all the way across the map. That dive took forever. Someone from middle could have easily ran up here if the guy had pinged himself and said, like, help, I need help. But yeah, so I mean, so far, I'm a little bit underfarmed in terms of CS, but I'm like 2-0. So at least this build is looking like it can work in a normal game. Which then again, as I said, just because it looks like it can work in a normal game, doesn't mean it can work with a ranked game. And just because it can work in a ranked game, doesn't mean it's an optimal build. It's very tricky. When you're trying to find out actually like the best way to play a champion, there's like a huge number of steps that you have to go into. But I am at 97 CS to Corky's 107. So it looks like once I was strong enough that my Q could really heal me off these creeps, and I could get some life back, or when I bought all those health potions, because my Q wasn't strong enough yet, then I could hold my own against a ranged champion. It's just those early levels that I felt really, really weak compared to him, and he got a pretty huge lead. And of course, every time I let him just push my turret like that, I'm gonna miss some CS. That's not good. It's okay, at least I got all the range creeps. I probably should just nuke the creeps instead of zone him, because he just nukes the creeps and then that happens. But yeah, I'm not worrying too much about my rage, other than I know I probably want to be using it on my Q. In most situations, I think you'd want to use the Fury or the Rage or whatever on your Q, because that's the skill that you've maxed early. Other than anything else, you probably want to spend your resources on your strongest ability. But yeah, I don't know. I'll worry about that on a future game with him. It's not like crucial, I don't think. I think you can probably play a pretty decent Renekton without knowing 100% when I should use my rage on which moves. Or I guess Fury. So let's see, this increases the damage by a decent amount, reduces their armor. So armor reduction could be pretty good. It could be good to do at the start of like a chase or a fight for your team. Healing more just seems like overall the best in terms of like, if you're fighting by yourself, you're probably just going to want the bigger heal. But yeah, it looks like the playstyle is pretty much what someone had messaged me. You want to dash in, because if you don't dash in, then you're never going to get close enough to use your Q on them. They're just going to stand further back. But if you dash in towards them, make sure that you hit a minion or a creep so you can dash again. But if you dash in towards them, you can then hit your Q on them, and then heal up, and farm the creeps at the same time. This one makes you do one more attack, longer stun. Alright, so that could be cool, like for CC. It's not that much longer of a stun, it doesn't feel like it's going to be that big of a difference. And yeah, I guess I'll just head middle. It looks like my team's been having a lot of trouble. Oh, I can just fight this Mundo. Corky will probably head down soonish, so I'm probably going to have to dash over this wall. But I did as much damage to Mundo as I could, and the Ez ult actually probably came really close to killing that Mundo. And yeah, Corky's still low.
Who's next on the An enemy has been slain. An enemy has been slain.
Oh, sweet. Since we killed two of the middle, and I see the other two, I'm probably just going to tower dive this Corky. And yeah, he wasn't even paying attention. Normally they pay attention to like try and escape. I would have used my dash and my exhaust to chase after him. I think I could have killed even if he was looking top. I think that would have been a kill. But Well, yeah, he was looking mid, so it was like an even easier kill than it should have been. It should have still been a pretty straightforward kill, though. All he could do to get away was Valkyrie. My ghost was up, my exhaust was up, so if I just ghost exhausted him, I still had a dice up, too. I sliced in to make sure I could get my Cult of the Meek on him and stun him. But then I had dice, I had ghost going, and I had exhaust. I don't think he really could have escaped that.
Welcome the Hobbit.
And yeah, I probably should have bought a ward instead of 2 health potions. That was just kind of an impulse buy. I was like, hey, health potions are always good, but a ward would probably be better. But Ghostblade seemed good. Phage seems pretty good. I don't know. I probably eventually want to build a little bit more tanky. But maybe I could go a Triforce or probably a Frozen Mallet. That'll kind of deal some tankiness and let me chase down people. Sounds pretty good. And yeah, as I said earlier, the laning was a lot. Dice towards him and use the Q to get damage on him and damage on the creeps. Like right there. And make him Valkyrie away. Make him waste that mana on that Valkyrie. If he didn't Valkyrie away, I could keep chasing him. But I turn around like instinctively because I just assume he's gonna Valkyrie away. Because if he doesn't, I'll do a lot more damage to him.
Nothing will stop me.
Oh, Azrael's in trouble. I can't save his life. I might as well just stick up here then. But Trundle will probably come for me soonish. I'm gonna assume that the Corki's calling for help. I'm 3-0. The Trundle was double buffed here. Trundle's really strong right now. Trundle is 6-0. Wow. And there it is. Just as I was saying, I think Trundle will probably try and gank me. Trundle is trying to gank me. Gonna use my ult. Wow. He's strong. I guess, I don't know. I guess it's the Taric armor aura, maybe? But I think he used Shatter on me. I don't know. I guess I probably should have just ran. I just didn't expect them to be able to tower dive me like that. But then again, they're level like 13, 12, and 14. And I feel like I'm strong right now. I feel like level 15 is probably stronger than I should be. Which means that a tower dive definitely shouldn't work against me. Not like that. Not from full health. But then again, it could be part of not building any tank items at all. Considering they're mostly physical damage, I'm gonna buy probably like a Randuin's. I think a Randuin's would be pretty good. And yeah, like, my team cleaned up. That was excellent. A lot of that was they got themselves low tower diving me. The Trundle got himself really low. So in the end, we got 3 kills out of their crazy, ridiculous dive. If anyone had helped me during the tower dive, it also would have been really awesome. But I don't know. Like, I feel like they just shouldn't have been able to 3-man dive me like that. I feel like that, whether I played wrong, or whether my team should have came, or whether something else should have happened, it's kind of like when I dove the guy to here. You don't see that happen because you're not supposed to be able to do that. Like, the team would come gank me. But in this situation, I also shouldn't have died to that 3-man dive. I probably should have just played better. I probably just played it wrong. Probably should have just stunned him, exhausted him, ghosted, and ran away. Like, I could probably make it to the next turret. But I thought if I fought, then I could win. But the tower hardly even helped me. Alright, Ezreal's doing good now. That's pretty sweet. He's 7-1. This should be a good fight for us, because even though we're at their turret, it's a 5-on-4, and that guy chased us out of the turret. Yeah, because Ezreal got the kill earlier. Should always pay attention to kill notifications. Like, I don't point it out. I'm like, Ezreal's doing good. I said that because I saw a kill notification. But if you make note of when kill notifications happen, you don't even have to, like, one sec, I had to kill people. Yeah, you don't even have to hit tab. You can just be like, well, someone just died. There's no way he's respawned yet. We have a 5-on-4. and then you could recognize that that's a decent fight. It was a pretty even fight. Like, if we didn't fight correctly, we would have lost. A turret was probably about as strong as a champion, with 4 champions near it, maybe a little bit stronger. As far as the fight one, I just kind of mashed my abilities. I kind of like tried to slice and dice them, tried to hit a bunch of people with Q. AoE effects you want to hit multiple enemies with. I tried to slow. One thing I did try and do that's kind of a little bit higher level, if you have Lizard buff, instead of just focusing down one target, you can try and juggle between targets and keep Lizard buff on 2 different people. It'll increase your overall like DPS because you're hitting 2 different people with Lizard buff, and it'll slow them both for your team to chase them. So that's kind of nice. You don't always want to do it. Sometimes you just want to focus one guy down. But in a situation where you have like a 4-on-2 chase, which we did near the end of that, I was hitting the further target, and then I switched to hit the closer target to make sure they were both Lizard buffed. I also stunned the further away target because I was trying to get both kills. If you could only get 1 kill, you just want to focus, like, you want to all target the same guy. But if I think that I can get both, I'm going to juggle between the 2 with Lizard buff, and I'm going to stun the guy that I think is going to be harder to kill, because I want to get both kills, so stun the hardest guy, to make it more likely that you get both. The only problem with doing that is, of course, you have the chance of getting neither. If you're doing everything to the guy that's harder to kill, and then you don't do enough damage to the guy that's easier to kill, and they both make it away, then you look really retarded. But, if you're pretty sure you can get both, then yeah, it's a good strategy.
Chaos will follow.
And yeah, I didn't even use my Ghost Blade, just like... This was like clueless, probably should have used Ghost Blade. That would have been a good thing to be doing. I don't know, this could be a 3-on-5, yeah. And there it is. Oh, my ult made Baron target me. But yeah, I mean, I felt like when we went in on that, I'm like, this could be a 3-on-5, this could be really bad. And of course, it turned out to be pretty bad. Actually, we're going 2 for 2. Just any like win that we get out of this fight is simply because we're way ahead. You rule this win to the fact that Ezreal's level 17 and he's like 8-1. I'm level 16 and I'm like 5-2. Their average level is like 14, 13 maybe. That's why we won that fight. Not because it was a good fight at all. That was actually an awful fight. Like, we were here and I'm like, well, there's 3 of them and 3 of us, and the other 2 are missing. And they've been missing for a while, and our team is far away. That was definitely a bad fight, but because we were ahead, we somehow did okay. Although it looks like they're still fighting and now not doing okay.
An ally has been slain.
Lavish brutality.
Wonder if I can kill that Kog'Maw. But they're 5 up and 2 mid and 3 missing, so I have to assume if I go for this Kog'Maw that his team will come and help him. Yeah, I missed my slice and dice. I was pretty sure the animation was behind him, but it didn't hit him. Yeah, Udyr and I should not go for them here because they are 5 alive and 3 missing, which means that there's probably more than 2 here. And anything more than 2, Udyr and I shouldn't be going on. Of course they could be doing Baron. I'm pretty sure they are doing Baron. Like, that would be a smart thing to be doing. Oh, did they do Baron? They did Baron. Ha! Wow. That means they did Baron as 3, because Kog'Maw and Taric were there the whole time. So that means Trundle and Corki and Mundo did Baron. Yeah, that's doable. A little bit tough. There was no way I could have stopped them. It was just me and Udyr. That's what happened when these guys died so late in that fight. But at least the game's even again. They might even be a little bit ahead. And see, this is the thing, like, this fight that I was talking about that was a bad fight, that was what caused all of this. Like, we fought that one bad fight, we got, like, 5 of us killed for maybe 2 of them killed, and then they got Baron, and now they're back in the game. It's really easy to see that that was a bad fight and just not fight that fight. But if you do fight that fight and make that mistake, then they catch up by a lot. So I guess that's something that I really don't like about the game right now, in my opinion. It's really hard to make a mistake like that. That mistake was like obvious. As we were making the mistake, any moderately good player could tell if that was a bad fight. So while that's a really hard mistake to make, it's a really stupid mistake, it lets them completely back in the game. But if we made any slightly lesser mistakes that aren't that huge, then they just can't win. So I wish that there was like some common ground. Oh man. I had to ult just to live. They're actually really strong right now. But yeah, I don't know why we're fighting this either. This is a bad fight. I mean, if we just keep picking bad fights, we'll just lose. And that's a pretty easy way to lose. But yeah, I mean, they have Baron. They have every advantage possible. They're full HP. They're 5 together. We weren't 5 together. And we're fighting them over in this forest over here. Not even by a turret. I guess my Q just didn't go off when I dashed in. And our team is all dead. Okay. Well, then there was no way to save that turret at all. I was hoping Ezreal would come back in time and we could kill 1 or 2 of them. But yeah, I mean, I don't think we'll just straight lose here, because our team will come up and then we can kill them if they try and break double turrets. Double turrets are really hard to break. But if our team chases them, we'll lose. So I can just kind of sit back and watch and see. Because yeah, if we chase like exactly what's happening, we will actually lose the game here. Because they're still 5 alive. Nothing has changed. It's 5 of them with Baron buff without a turret. It's just as bad as fighting them over here. Yeah, I know, like, even if it was a 5v5, that was a bad fight. There's no reason to chase them outside of the turrets. Oh my god, they're strong. Although, did kill someone. And this Ezreal is a pretty huge wuss. Ideally, if they are 5 attacking one of your teammates, you can play really aggressive because they're 5 attacking one of your teammates. Like, we definitely could have killed 2 of them there, in my opinion. 2 of us and 2 turrets, and they're just fighting us. 2 of them should die, and Ezreal should still be able to survive. The fact that they were all focusing on me, and he was standing so far back he wasn't even attacking with his auto attacks, that's bad. But yeah, I mean, the game is lost at this point. Once you lose your 2 throne turrets, you're not winning.
Your turret has been destroyed.
I don't see anything that we could do to try and win. Because they could simply just come up and kill our throne. Although I guess if our inhib respawns, then they have to kill an inhib and a throne. But I still feel like we've lost. I feel like inherently when we lost the 2 double turrets is when the game was over. And losing the 2 double turrets was an extension of the team chased out to here. Which just, it didn't make any sense. Like, I could have typed something in ally chat, like if it was a ranked game, I would have been like, don't chase. I would have actually liked it if my teammates knew not to chase. But, as I said earlier, it's pretty easy to tell that a 4v5 is a bad fight. It's easier to tell that a 4v5 against Baron buff's a bad fight. And it's easiest to tell that a 4v5 with Baron buff, or against Baron buff, when you have nothing going your way. They aren't low, they don't have their skills on cooldowns, they aren't fighting near your turret. It's just an open field, everyone has everything, 4v5, they have Baron buff. Why would you fight that? You're obviously, like, given any other circumstance, like, even if we were way ahead, even if we were, like, 10 kills ahead, we would probably still lose that fight. 4-on-5 against Baron, open field. It's really a tough fight to win. So, I don't know why, that's just, like, standard. I feel like that's just obvious. But, I mean, I guess it's less obvious if you're in your base, you feel like they have stuff on cooldown. Like, normally, if you're in your base, they'll be low, and they'll have things on cooldown. But, because they had Baron buff and Taric, who kept them healed, and because they didn't have to use any cooldowns to kill me, really, they had all their cooldowns and they were full life. But yeah, I mean, in terms of like 4v5 fights that are good, you could have a 4v5 next to a turret. You could have a 4v5 when they have their ults on cooldown or when they're low on health, or low on mana, or I don't know what. There aren't that many other ors. Or if they're like tanking Baron, if they're like 5 tanking another creep, you basically, if you're gonna fight a 4-on-5, you need to really have a justification for why you're doing that 4-on-5. You need to have something in your favor because the numbers are in their favor. And yet notice, when they started focusing Ezreal, I dashed in there. That was what I was talking about earlier. When they are all focusing my teammate, even though dashing in there will get me killed. Like if I just normally dashed in there, I was just gonna die. But because they were all focusing my teammate, I dashed in there because they're less likely to switch focus. Switching focus is a tougher thing to do than just to keep focusing the target that you're focusing. And so I put myself in like great danger to do extra damage because he was getting focused. If he had done that earlier, when we were at these double turrets, I think we could have defended the double turret. And I mean, that's I guess a little bit higher level. It's the kind of thing where you're like, well, I know I'll die if I do this, but if my teammate's going to die if I don't do this, then I should do it to maximize my damage because they're doing something else. Like, they could kill me if they decided to focus me, but that's not what they're currently doing. So I'm going to go in there, maximize my damage, and hope that they don't switch. Or if they do switch, then maybe you save your teammate, or your teammate can maximize his damage because they switch to you. All sorts of good things can happen. But yeah, I would have liked to see that from the Ezreal. But I mean, aside from that, it was a pretty standard normal game. Your team makes stupid decisions that loses the game. I took part in one of the stupid decisions. It was a stupid fight that I recognized was a stupid fight, and that was where they got the Baron and turned the whole game around. But I mean, it's a normal game. You're not really playing it to win. I was playing that game to get some rust off and to learn a little bit about Renekton, which I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I want to build him more tanky. I do. I don't think Ghostblade is really what I want to start with. I did like the cooldown boots, though. But I mean, he might need Merc Treads just because he's melee. Almost all melees end up needing Merc Treads when you think about it. But I would say I liked cooldown boots. I liked Ghostblade, but I think tanky would be better. And I don't know, I didn't really like the Phage. It wasn't really useful. So I would probably scrap Phage and Ghostblade when I try and make a new Renekton build and find some other stuff to build. I don't know.